Hey guys, and welcome to part 4 of this month's episode of Gunpla News. This is episode 8 for July 2015. If you are watching this as the playlist, that's cool. You can watch this all as a playlist on my channel. Once again, in the first part, we talked about news, and the second part, we talked about some new figure and kit announcements. In the third part, we talked about some figure and kit updates. This part we're talking about some third-party stuff. In the next and the final part we're going to be talking about some featured kits. So like I said, if you're watching this all as a playlist, you can do that on my channel. Or I guess if you're not watching this as a playlist, you can do that on my channel. Or you can just watch parts, whichever part you want to watch, like that. So let's go ahead and get started with some talk about some third-party stuff. Again, nothing about any resin kits this time, guys. Sorry, I just didn't have or didn't see any news about any resin kits that I wanted to put in here this time, but there's some cool, interesting stuff here anyway. First one is that we had this image, which according to Samuel Decal was a teaser image for a high-grade Devil Gundam that's in production. We don't know anything else about it other than just that it's a high-grade Devil Gundam. And again, that's just according to some very, very loose detail just from Samuel Decal. So I'm hoping that that's what it is, and that's what we're going to be getting sometime in the near future. Is some kit of the Devil Gundam would be cool in high-grade form. Should be pretty large too. Would be cool, I don't know. So anyway, just have to see what else about that. Not really much else, anything to say, because there's nothing else that we know about that. Next is this is something I have talked about a couple times before, I think, is the 1/35th scale Unicorn Gundam bust from Seraph Hobby. Once again, last year they put out the 1/35th scale bust of the Banshee. The quality was not that good. But this time they've made it for the Unicorn, and they've added shoulders, and hopefully they've improved the quality, but we're not sure yet. Anyway, we'll just have to see. For the time being, we haven't really had much of an update for this. We haven't had any sort of update actually since last month, so still don't know the price, and still don't know the release date set for that. It's possible that the project could have been canceled already. Again, really don't know. But just for anyone who is interested, just check out Samuel Decal and get in touch with him if you're interested in pre-ordering that. If it's available for pre-order, I'm not totally sure, just because we don't have the price yet, so I think maybe it's not yet. But just make sure that you're following Samuel Decal's Facebook page if you want to be sure to get any updates on that or anything else. Next one is something we did get an update for finally, is the Master Grade 1/100 scale TR1 Hazel Custom from Magic Toys. Now, of course, this is not technically a Master Grade because it's not from Bandai, but Magic Toys is producing a 1/100 scale version of the Hazel Gundam with an inner frame. Though from this picture here, the inner frame looks really, really simple. But, I mean, that's not always a bad thing. I mean, as we've seen with the recent releases in the RE line, you can make a really awesome looking 1/100 scale kit without an inner frame. So I mean, the inner frame is really not all that important as long as it does what it needs to do. So I don't know, that for me, I'm just kind of glad that they're not basically just copying a version of the Gundam, because when we first were seeing stuff about this, I basically was expecting that they were going to be just making just basically a bootleg copy of the inner frame of probably the Gundam Mark II, probably like the Master Grade Mark II version 2.0, and then just new armor parts for it to make it into the Hazel. That's what I was expecting, but it looks like it's just going to be totally all new from the ground up, which is good, as long as it works well. We'll just have to see. The bad thing about it, though, is that from these pictures that we've seen, it doesn't really look that good, or it doesn't really look like it's supposed to. Some of the proportions and details are just not really what they're supposed to be for the Hazel, so that's a little bit disappointing, but I'm having a hard time really feeling disappointed about that, just because I'm just glad that we're finally getting a nice, or just a kit of the Hazel in 1/100 scale with inner frame and stuff. And more importantly than the fact that we're just getting that kit is just the fact that we're getting that kit opens up the possibilities that we're getting other versions of the Hazel later down the line. So I'm sure I'm going to be getting that kit. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a huge fan of the Hazel, so it's going to be really hard not to buy that kit, even though the proportions and stuff don't look quite right. And I hope it sells well so that they make other versions of it. So we'll just have to see. But as of yet, there's no price or release date for that. But I guess we should be getting some more announcements about that pretty soon in the near future. Probably next month, we might have more details about that, I hope. And the last thing there is to talk about is, again, nothing that we really have any news to report on, is the Mechanicore Tiefstürmer. The Mechanicore's 1/100 scale version of the Deep Striker, just a redesigned Deep Striker. I've talked about this quite a bit in past videos, so I'm not really going to say too much about it this time. The total price is $350, very, very expensive. The deposit was $180, then you have to pay the $170 balance plus shipping later once it's actually out. Is scheduled to be released in October, but we can probably count on November or December, possibly even later, but hopefully by December we should have that kit. Again, the pre-order version does come with a lot of exclusive stuff. I've talked about that in past videos. If you're interested, go back and check out previous third-party portions of Gunpla News where I talked more about that. I'm not going to get too much into it now. But that's basically it. There wasn't really a whole lot more announced that I really want to talk about at this point in time. So that's it for this part, guys. The next part is features, and I do have a lot of those. I think something like 8 featured kits I want to talk about in the next final part of this month's episode. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in part 5, features. Bye.